Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Pamela Milton. And visually, as we can see on the right hand side, she's not doing much for herself. As you can see, she's just standing there and she's got someone shooting for her. Is that, I'm not 100% certain who that is. It's her bodyguard, her son. There's probably some storyline towards this because of the necklace just stands out a bit too much. I'm sure someone in the chat does know. On the left hand side, she's looking pretty angry right now. Right hand side, she's chilling, but left hand side, she's not very happy at all. And then she's got one of the soldiers of the Commonwealth with her, of course. Very Frost-esque, Miss Mercer-esque, should I say, as well. You know, those sort of characters. We're going to bring up her stats. You can see as a Gold Mythic, Limit Break 2, level 680. She has got 14,465 attack, 15,911 defense, and 17,840 HP. She is an alert character, of course. She is considered a tank, and those are some tanky stats. Mythic character, of course, as well. And lastly, she is a member of the Commonwealth, which I don't think too many people would be surprised at. Now we'll take a look at her adrenaline rush, and it is called the Governor's Might, and you can see it's just a spray of bullets going in the picture there. It's a 66 AP cost rush, deal 250% damage to up to 5 enemies. This character gains 200% defense for 1 turn. So interesting, because she's attacking 5 enemies. There are 6 bullets in that picture. Come on, guys. Get it together. I just the first thing I noticed. But this is going to be quite nice for attack or defense. You know, I've talked about it before when it comes to characters that just attack everybody. Even if it isn't for that much damage, that is going to be a full clearance of the Guardian Shields. We have a character recently who had the similar, I think it was Andre, who had very similar in terms of just, it's going to be a Guardian Shield clearance, and Guardian Shields can ramp up real quick, especially with the characters now that actually have it on skills and, you know, signature moves, rushes, you know, part of their passives, but they're not a specialist Guardian Shield. This is going to help with those, because obviously if there's a Guardian Shield specialist on that team as well, you can get 2 to 4 to even 5 Guardian Shields in just 1 turn in certain scenarios. Now the second part, 200% defense, is nice. Obviously 200% defense is huge. It's only to herself, but it does mean she's going to take much greater reduced damage once this rush goes off for her next turn. Okay, so as you can see, we have got the adrenaline rush of Pamela up, and you can see there are 5 Guardian Shields on the defense team. I see this as quite a good combat to the heavy Guardian Shield potential of some attack teams. I've used Conrad as the leader here and Michonne 2000. Those two together can get Guardian Shields quite heavily. Obviously, the Guardian Shields on defense teams are going to be just as heavy. So there may be potential for her to be used on attack. We'll look at that a bit later. But if we rush, she'll just do the animation and both of them go across the screen. Very interesting. And she'll have the 200% defense boost here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just attack with my Glen. I'm going to just defend, and you should see that the 200% defense will last until the start of my next turn. So it will last their turn as well. As you see, the stuff's going to come in. Now we are going to get attacked, and then we might get taken out. No, we don't get taken out, but you can see the defense buff runs out, and I'm back. I'm alive. I'm still alive, because obviously I took reduced damage. So we'll check out the upgrades on this adrenaline rush, and at grade 2 it gets a 50% damage boost, so it goes from 150% to 200%. At grade 4 it gets a 100% defense boost, so it goes from 100% to 200%. And at limit break 1 she gets another 50% damage boost, so it goes from 200% to 250%. It doesn't really matter too much how much damage she's going to do with this rush. You can just basically see this as being a bonus. The best thing that she's going to get out of getting to limit break 1, limit break 2, and so on and so forth is mainly going to be a stat boost. The 50% attack here is damage here is going to be okay. If it does hit a glass cannon damage dealer, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. But like I said, I mainly see it this is wiping lots of Guardian Shields, making it hard for defense teams to really stay like invulnerable to other characters in your team. You know, Pamela Milton rushes, and then there's other characters that could rush potentially afterwards. You know, characters like Governor would be able to then almost one-shot a lot of characters in those situations. Now, she does have a signature move, and it's called Leader of the Commonwealth. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 6 turns, number of uses unlimited. This character gets elusive and 100% impair resistance for 3 turns. Now, when I originally saw her Adrenaline Rush, I saw her as 66 AP, and I was like, maybe she can't have a stat weapon, but in this situation, she potentially could, because this maybe would be the window in itself. So she doesn't necessarily have to have a, you know, a windowless weapon like stun on defense or something, but obviously that would help. But she's not going to be giving any AP away after turn 1, so that's actually going to be pretty decent. The impair resistance is nice. It does mean you're not going to have to go down the line of, you know, going for impair resists on her mods, generally speaking. But I do believe if she is already impaired, when she gets the 100% impair resistance, she would still be impaired. You know, basically like the same with bleed and 100% bleed resist. I think that would be the case. There aren't any characters that I can recall that actually have a turn 1 impair. The only way she could get that is based off AP and neutralize, and that's not going to happen turn 1 anyway, unless she got absolutely destroyed somehow. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So it's actually a pretty decent one versus something else like I don't know, confuse or you know, this turn 1 confuses, for instance, like Mirabelle would be able to still confuse her turn 1 and she wouldn't be able to get this off. So this isn't too bad, and it's also not going to stop her signature move, so that's actually pretty decent. So it is pretty basic. Obviously, she does the signature move, and the elusive will come in for 3 turns and they 100% resist. On a defense team, she'll get the flat 35 AP. On an attack team too, so she's going to get more AP from doing this turn 1 than if she wasn't. On a defense team, this is going to be very nice. On an attack team, obviously you get the choice. It could be more beneficial for you to attack in certain scenarios, depending on what weapon you had, you know, so on and so forth. We'll, like I said, we're going to check her attack team potential further into the video, but on a defense team, this is pretty nice. There's other characters that do similar. I think it's Morgan has an elusive on his turn 1, which is nice. He does other stuff too, but the elusive is nice. It does make it harder to really gain AP in, and potentially these 2 characters could be in the same team. So multiple characters with elusive on the defense team. It actually kind of like pushes the enemy team to attack certain characters and not attack the likes of Pamela here. So that way you could force the attack team into certain weapons or certain specialist skills where you know there's going to be bonuses from people attacking those, or like maybe not negatives, but smaller negatives than not gaining AP, but bigger risks, if that makes sense. We'll go over the upgrades here. You can see at grade 3, she gets an extra 50% impair resistance, going from 50% to 100%. At grade 5, she gets an extra starting cooldown reduction, so it goes from turn 3 to turn 2, and then at limit break 2, it goes from turn 2 to turn 1. So definitely limit break 2 would make her really powerful with the turn 1 signature move. Grade 5 is obviously good too, as long as she has it within the first 2 turns is very important. I would say generally speaking, a grade 5 character is ideal at minimum for defense teams. Just that jump from grade 4 to grade 5 with the levels is massive amount of stats. So I'd say that's important, and you're going to get at least the initial cooldown of turn 2, which is important for the AP gain cycle on a defense team. She is 66 AP, so you're going to have to work out some other things, whether she's going to gain AP on her weapon or whether you're going to just go for stats and use the elusive. Like I said, it's completely up to you how you want to do that. There are definite upsides and downsides to both things. Now, Pamela Milton obviously has some mythic abilities. These are her passive skills, and we can read through them. She obviously gets strength as she is a tank. That's 2 times 20% critical hit resistances added together, making 40%. The next one is called State Protection. When rushing, 100% chance to gain absolute defense and reduce reflected damage to 0. This is interesting. Her rush hasn't got any on-hit capabilities, I don't think, but it means it would make things like Payback, Bide, or any passive reflex like Mercer, they'd all be reduced to 0. Would it be the first one or all of them? What I'll do is I'll test that out with a couple of characters that can do that and see if it reduces every single one to 0, because that would be pretty interesting. Next one is called Helping the Community. At the start of each turn, heal one other teammate by 100% of their max HP. Now, in certain scenarios, this could be absolutely brutal. If she was to heal someone with Overheal 1 or maybe even Overheal 2, yeah, if you saw Davy's kit in one of my recent videos, you know how Overheal 2 works. This basically would buff herself in certain scenarios. That is going to be absolutely nasty. It would, generally speaking, heal the lowest HP character. Now, while it does say 100% HP, it's never going to be 100% HP because the character would be downed. If they, the most it can do is 99.99. And well, actually, like I said, unless they've got a special skill that allows the kind of overflow. So if one character was at like 80% HP and it was Davey, and everyone else was at 100%, he'd get 20% of his HP, and then the other 80% would work towards his special skill. Yeah, like I say, that's where it's going to be brutal. Next up is Army Support. When rushing, 30% chance this character gains 100% AP. Now, we have seen this on a couple of characters before. 30% chances is pretty decent. 1 in 3, rushes, she's going to get another rush the next turn. And her rush is okay. Her rush is pretty decent, but having that twice in a row, from an attack team's perspective, she's going to wreck them. Like I said, damage dealers. If the first one clears the Guardian Shields, her next one follow-up will most likely do damage. It's going to be very interesting now. And yeah, obviously it means that the defense buff is going to just stay out for another turn. Yeah, very nice indeed. Okay, so we're going to attack, and as you can see, I have got a couple of characters that have those reflects in. We've got Bide on Morgan in the top right-hand corner. Mercer with his passive reflect in the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to attack Morgan in the top right-hand corner. We're going to give him a bit of his Bide just to get it to 50%, just so it's got a better chance of actually proccing. We'll give some AP to Pamela. Now, what should happen is Harper should get really focused here. Harper should get really focused. She seems to be, because she's got the highest attack stat. And watch the HP of whoever does get hit. Whoever gets hit should lose HP, but then instantly go back up to 100%. Whoever it is. It's going to be, it's going to be Glenn. And Glenn's 100% HP again. This is actually going to counter the AI dogpiling, which you just saw basically. Rick got attacked once, Glenn got attacked 3 times. Generally, the heavy attacks happen from a defense team to attack team on one character. Generally, your heaviest damage dealer as well. Getting them instantly healed up to 100% is going to be pretty nice. What we're going to do is we're going to attack, and we're just going to command Pamela here. Now, does the Bide and does the passive from Mercer, do they both go to 0 absolute defense, or does it just do one of them? Watch for the zeros above the head of Pamela Milton. Now, I've got a 30% chance of getting my rush back, and it happened. 100% AP. I only saw absolute defense once, but it procced twice. So it's going to be any sort of reflect. So it just says absolute defense just to let you know it is actually happening. But any reflect coming back is going to be put down to 0. This is going to be great against Payback, Bide, passive reflect, but also any future characters that come out with that sort of thing. So Pamela is looking like a little bit of an all-round character. Usages on defense, usages on attack. She may only be able to be used on attack in niche teams, but we'll look into the last part of her kit in a moment, and this is where I think there is going to be a potential for a nice attack team coming up. We'll look at the upgrades here though on the passives. You can see she gets the first half of that 100% chance to gain absolute defense, with 50% of it at grade 1, the first half of strength at grade 2, at grade 3 she gets the second half of the absolute defense, so you don't have to get too much done on this character to get the 100% reflect down to 0, which is pretty decent. The first half of helping the community, that's the heal a teammate by 50% of their max HP at grade 4. At grade 5, she gets the army support when rushing. 30% chance this character gains 100% AP. So up until the grade 5 point, she's already looking like a very solid character. She gets the second half of strength at limit break 1, and then in limit break 2, she gets the second half of that heal. So it goes from 50% to 100%. But even if you can't get it up that high, 50% is very heavy. But 100% heal, like I said, in certain scenarios, it's going to just be like such a surprise to actually happen. Especially if someone focuses, like I said, it on a defense team, Davey, like hard focuses Davey on a defense team first, doesn't take them out, and then this heal would focus, like actually 100% happen to Davey, and then potentially, like I said, with the bonus HP and stuff, because yeah, that's going to be pretty brutal. Now, the last big part of her main kit, before we get into the weapons and such, is the fact that she is a leader. You probably noticed already. We'll check out her leader skill, and it's pretty simple. All alert and strong teammates get 50% HP. The second I saw this, I was instantly like, main attack team. This is what I've been talking about quite a lot recently when it comes to the potential of main being used on attack. You have to have huge amount of HP coming out from a leader towards alert characters, so that characters like Thomas, Richards and Kapoor can get beasted up with their damage output. This is going to work. This is going to work very nicely. And the fact that it's alert and strong means you could put a command in that team as well and get the leader bonus in Rick. So there's going to be quite a tanky attack team, and that could be pretty decent. I think it's maybe missing one last spot. You could potentially use Governor there, but Governor's kind of weird. He relies on actually losing HP to do damage, so I don't think his viability on attack is amazing. But you could potentially use another character down the line. There could be a strong character that comes out relying on HP to do damage. And this is opening the doors for those sort of attack teams. I like that. On defense, it's going to work really well as well. Obviously, you could use Barker behind the team with Milton as the leader. You could use Rick there as well, and you're going to have AP gain from Barker's passive and rush, and you're going to have a lot of things popping off. You could have Morgan on a defense team. Now, her leader skill is pretty obvious. I don't think I have to really show any footage, but basically it means that characters are going to gain 50% extra HP, and it's going to multiply weapons. I believe this is also the most powerful boost when it comes to stats so far, but it is worth noting there's no extras on top like some of the other rushes do. So she's sacrificed boosts to things like doing attack down to just much heavier stats. But in the Mythic era, that is a massive boost in stats just because the base level stats are just so high already. Now, Pamela Milton does have her own pistol, even if she isn't the one who's using it. It is Pamela Milton's Jarring Glock. Now, it is a 5-star weapon from the get-go. I didn't need to 5-star this weapon. It has 35% defense, 30% HP, stun when being attacked, a better chance to stun the attacker for their next 2 turns, and then she also gives 12% HP to all teammates in a line. The last slot obviously is going to be replaced. If she is the leader, she's got no one in her line, the majority of the time anyway, maybe for roadmaps and stuff, but you could potentially just go for some HP on this. 2 upgrades of HP, and then put something quite basic in the last slot rather than going for anything too special. As it's already a 5-star weapon, any 5-star weapons you have already that are alert, you can just instantly put in her hands. So you don't have to mess about with upgrading it as a 4-star weapon, then upgrading it to 5-star before giving her the weapon you want. You can do that as soon as you want, and you can decide down the line whether you want to upgrade this weapon or not. The base weapon isn't terrible, and especially if you haven't got an upgraded armory, it's a nice baseline. But I know a lot of people have the focus, stun, heavy tanky weapons already, and like I said, fit straight in her hands. She doesn't necessarily have to do damage on an attack team either, even though she has got an offensive rush. You could see that, like I said, more of just someone who's going to remove those guardian shields, proc some of those bites, and just basically mainly be a tank on an attack team. So that is Gold Mythic Pamela Milton, and she is a very interesting character. I do believe there's going to be 1 or 2 more characters to come out to support this, but there are already characters in the game that are going to work extremely well, especially on attack, the characters that really require big HP boosts. Now, if she is used on a defense team, I didn't say this, but obviously Governor can be on that defense team, and his damage on his way out, if he's taken out, outlast, and then his rush, he's just going to have so much HP, there's not going to be very many characters on an attack team that can survive that. My Wayland with 40,000 HP can sometimes just about survive it. No chance with this as a leader, no chance. So having to counter those sort of characters can be very important. There are counters out there for the likes of a Governor, but if you're focusing on having to counter those characters, then other characters are going to just have a bit more freedom. So yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of a boost to characters that already exist in the game, but I think there's most likely going to be a nice strong character to come along, particularly strong, that's going to work with this, because there's so many alert. There's Thomas Richards, there's Kapoor, there is Governor. All of them have HP based damage. I think there's most likely going to be a strong one coming along as well. We'll have to wait and see. But this is Pamela Milton. Like I say, pretty good leader. Opens up new options on defense teams. The first alert, strong, trait specific defense leader, but also potentially an attack leader. Let me know your thoughts on this character in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on what the visuals are like. When I first saw this, I was just like, what is going on? What is going on the right hand side? I don't even know. She's just chilling, and I don't know. And the left hand side, even that art is pretty nuts with the background and stuff. So yeah, very interesting, guys. Like I say, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.